Hello, welcome to another edition of CropLife Retail Week. I'm Eric Sfiligoj, editor of CropLife and CropLife Iron, here again with Laura Sowinski. Laura, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I am good. I am good. And it looks like with your background, that's your normal background we're used to seeing when you're not in the cornfield like I am. But I guess as we record this, you've just actually returned home from a trip. So if you want to talk about your trip to our nation's capital with our viewers, I'm sure they would appreciate finding out what's going on there because there's been a lot of news coming out of that particular zip code recently. So.
For sure. Yeah, this past week was an absolute thrill. Honestly, I uh participated in the DC fly-in. CPDA was gracious enough to ask me to join them, and it was the CPDA along with ARA, CropLife America, and the Fertilizer Institute joining forces to take a trip to visit with lawmakers on Capitol Hill and as well as the EPA. So um, I really just, I have to kind of go through everything that I have a lot of notes and stuff, but I do want to absolutely give some highlights and some takeaways just at high level, and then kind of unpack the stuff in the coming weeks. But I will say this is the first fly-in that I've been able to participate in, and there were some other first timers there as well. It was really a fantastic way. Again, I think the importance of these four industry partners in particular coming together to advance the Farm Bill, talking to lawmakers about the Endangered Species Act and what resources the EPA needs in order to comply with that. And again, we're not even just talking about human resources, in other words, staffing and stuff, just even equipment and things that, kind of support the business of, taking a look at active ingredients, renewing them. There's a backlog, of course, that a sizable one that, everyone is concerned about. In fact, I will say, again, the CPDA, I was tagging along with them and their group, but there was a whole group of us, 3 or 4 busloads, amongst the 4 industry partners that visited with lawmakers this past week. We had some fabulous material. Honestly, CPDA did a great job of prepping us and what to expect, staying on message, making the best use of our time when we got in front of our representatives and senators as well. So over $500 million of CPDA member products and important crop protection tools currently sit in regulatory limbo at EPA. Unfortunately, EPA has experienced declining resources for many years and has lost seasoned and experienced staff over the past 15 years. With its workload on the rise and with fewer resources to meet the demand, regulatory submissions are delayed, causing uncertainty. So that was a key message. Again, the Farm Bill, USDA resources, EPA resources, the innovation backlog. Those were kind of the main topics that we were prepped on and which we presented to our lawmakers. And I will say, not only was it a powerful way to get in front of people, and I felt like they really were listening. They took notes. It was helpful that CPDA was able to kind of distill everything into bullet points so that they understood. I mean, obviously, these folks. One representative that we met with, he had 10 different meetings just in one day. So there's a lot that they're listening to, and people are visiting with them. So I will say it was for those in our audience. I know our industry associations, whether these 4 that we're talking about in Washington D.C. or other statewide, etc. If you're not involved with an industry association like CPDA, ARA, CropLife America, and the Fertilizer Institute, I can tell you firsthand, and this isn't, no one's paying me to say the work that they do on behalf of their members is powerful, and it re really results in changes. We had a listening session with EPA's Ed Messina. He's the director of Office of Pesticide Programs, and it was just to first and foremost thank Ed and the staff at EPA for the work that they've done. In particular, helping to get approval for the use of drift reduction adjuvants. As they were included in the final herbicide strategy that came out last year, and likewise as insecticide and fungicide strategies, the final versions of those are uh, come forth this year and next as well. That will be important. So it was first and foremost to thank them, and it was just to kind of bring the EP up to speed. What's going on right now? Where things stand, and kind of just it was great actually that Ed was able to take a couple hours out of his day to get the updates, and it just again it was really good to see firsthand, like, this is how things work, this is how, getting in front of the people that make the decisions that, put regulations together and why it matters and the work that's done. Um, it really, will say just on a side note, Eric Spandel from, Winfield United, Eric, was on our November 15th webinar on the ABCs of ESA. He shared with the EPA yesterday a decision tree that he had put together, and he's kind of just it's kind of in a draft form, if you will now, but it was just a brilliant way to take all the complexities of the herbicide strategy, for instance, right now, the things that we know thus far, to put it in, if this, then this, if this, it was fantastic. So again, it was helpful for the EPA to see what members are working on, and likewise to hear from the EPA where their challenges are right now. And obviously there's a lot still in flux, with the change of administration and so forth. But just overall, just a great way of how things work and how important it is. I will say that, as a private citizen, I'm sure sometimes all of us feel like, gosh, does like, do I matter if I, send a letter to my congressman, or do I, things do matter. I feel like being able to witness that in person and to participate with these efforts on the Hill was great. So I do have, thankfully, the weather cooperated as well. I'm going to share a photo that I took with Terry Kipley there by the Capitol, but really, just really want to thank you to CPDA. So Terry Kipley, President and CEO, Andrew Walmsley, VP of Government Relations. Andrew, just you can tell he spends a lot of time there. He spends a lot of time. He does a lot of work, and he was awesome. Scott Rollins, Director of Government Relations. Scott, kind of same thing. Just had a lot of insight, knew how to prep us. This is how to kind of get the message across. It's not going to be helpful right now to go in there kind of groaning and complaining. Let's kind of shape this message this way. Very helpful. And Kara Strazo, Director of Communications and Operations at CPDA. Again, just a really good. If again, if you're not participating in one of these four groups, or just get involved. It's money well spent. So just wanted to thank those folks. We'll have additional footage, some nice video clips, etc. In the weeks ahead. CPDA had a professional videographer and photographer who accompanied us on all of the meetings. So that was helpful too. We'll have some stuff as we go along, but just a great important time to get together. The networking amongst the members again, just all of that stuff, a couple, 3 days well spent for sure, so just thrilled to be back, but man, how exciting.
Yeah, no, it sounds like a really good trip, and again, that whole message of getting involved, I know, for this video will drop in the beginning of March, and we'll start to post the articles that will be in the March edition of CropLife. And I know in my column in that issue, I talked about that whole get involved with your association,
Yeah.
to encourage our viewers and readers that if they're not involved, they should be because, given everything going on in the government, the new rules with ESA, there's a lot going on folks will have to be keeping up with, and probably the best way to keep up with, even if they're not directly involved, is to have somebody in Washington, D.C., the nation's capital, speaking on their behalf. So,
Agree, Eric.
yeah.
That's money well spent, and people are doing great work there, so
All right. Well, hey, I have one other thing to share. This is kind of, I guess, a sort of a roundabout update, perhaps, and we'll let the viewers decide for themselves. Yeah, viewers may remember, of course, for about a year and a half, there was an ongoing trade dispute revolving around corn, GM corn importation, particularly into Mexico from the U.S. Mexico banned it. The U.S. protested under the terms of the trade agreement between the two countries. Ultimately, arbitration panel ruled in favor of the U.S., so that opened the door for biotech corn to go back into the Mexican market, but found out on February 25th that Mexico's lower house of Congress approved a constitutional reform that bans the use of GM corn in the country. And I know that observers are a little worried that since the wording on this talks about the use and not just the planting of GM corn in the country, that it could be used as perhaps a way for Mexico to fight back against the arbitration ruling against them regarding get letting biotech corn come into the country. So we'll have to keep an eye on that.
yeah, I saw that news item as well, yeah, important development for sure.
So, hey, Laura, I know as this video drops, you and I will actually, along with about 12 or 14,000 other folks, be in Denver, Colorado for the annual Commodity Classic. That's one of the biggest agricultural trade shows on the calendar for those of us in the marketplace. And as I said, this year's event's taking place in Denver, March 2nd through 4th officially, but there's lots going on Saturday, March 1st, which is, I think, when this video will be airing. And you and I will be in Denver at that point, running around, attending events, and seeing people. I know myself. I've got my calendar booked. So, folks, I'm sorry if you've gotten messages to me in the last couple of days. Not only was I probably on a plane getting to Denver, but I literally I think I have a 15-minute block of time on Monday, the 3rd of March, where I don't have anything going on, which I probably will use as my one bathroom break over the 3 days. That ought to be real interesting. I don't know if anybody saw the Austin Powers movies, but when they unfroze him, and he had to go to the bathroom, it took like about 3 or 4 minutes because he'd been frozen for 30 years. But anyhow, I know that's way too much information. Sorry. But, yeah, I'm looking forward to this event. I have not seen I've been checking their agenda. I know usually the Secretary of Agriculture speaks at this event, but I haven't noticed if they've added Brooke Rollins to the event yet. Maybe because she just got confirmed, but, it would be if she's there, it'll be great to find out what the thinking is at, the USDA and EPA and all the government agencies that have something to do with our friends in agriculture.
Yeah, it's funny, thus far, I haven't seen, whether or not she's gonna be there, but agree, if she is, that would be great. Um, sorry, I just had a funny thought when you said a 15-minute break, I'm thinking it's gonna take you 7.5 minutes to get to the restaurant. Another 7.5 minutes to walk back to the booth, and that's if you're running, so anyway.
And pray there's no line either.
That's right.
All right. Well, anyhow, so yeah, folks, again, if I did not get back to you and set up a formal time to interview, I in between other meetings, I will try to squeeze in some time to at least swing by and say hi, even if I can't hang around for too long. And if I can't make it, I'm betting Laura's schedule is a little more freed up than mine, but yes, please, we have a booth on the show floor. Come by and, if you can't find us directly running around the show floor, leave us a note at the booth. We'll swing by there once in a while to make sure that if anybody wants to reach us, they certainly can find us.
Yep, absolutely. We'll coordinate our schedules accordingly and visit with as many people as we can.
Very good. All right. Well, Miss Laura, then let us end on the note we always do. It is time for fun with number.
A little. Sorry.
Hey, you're on a roll, so
Must be slap happy because,
I know. It's that air in Washington, DC back to El Paso, which is a little more relaxed. So, well, I just realized it. You don't even have to change time zones. For me, it's going to be 2 hours behind my normal time, but for you, it's just going to be dead on. So,
no, it's a little over an hour flight to Denver from El Paso, so this is the closest event that I'll be attending all year, I'm sure.
all right. Well, we'll see. I mean, I'm sure there's something will pop up in Texas this year. Something always does. Anyhow, Miss Laura, your number this week is a percentage, small one, 3.4%.
Okay.
All right. So, Miss Laura, is 3.4%, is that A, the projected increase in food prices for 2025? Is it B, the projected decline in soybean exports for 2025? Is it C, the projected decline in barge traffic for 2025? Or is it D, the amount of free time I have on my 2025 Commodity Classic schedule?
Oh, Eric. Gosh.
That number would be darn close given looking at my schedule, how long it is. 3.4% may be generous.
I I think so. Wow, this is hmm, I don't know. I'm gonna go with, projected increase in food prices, A.
You are correct. You are definitely staying on a roll. Yeah, I found this from our friends at USDA, their Department of Economic Research Services released their outlook for the year for food prices. And they say that they're expected to increase 3.4% in 2025. And that included 3.3% for grocery store and supermarket purchases and 3.4% for restaurant meals. So when you ate out. But some highlights on particular items. They mentioned that sugar and sweets, I guess that would be candies, are expected to increase in price by 6.4% because of some issues with cocoa.
Mhm.
Um, Non alcoholic beverages, soft drinks, expected to increase 4.4%. Beef and veal, I love beef myself, expected to go up 3.2%. And here's the biggie, eggs. Everybody's been talking about the price of eggs. And right now they're projecting by the end of 2025, eggs will cost 41.1% more than they did at the beginning of the year, which consider I'm already paying about $1 an egg at my local grocery store. I can't imagine going to like 3 or 4 bucks an egg. That could be I may be taking up oatmeal. What can I say?
And I may be, baking less quiches. That's right.
Yeah.
We
So,
bake a lot of, so yeah.
yeah, maybe it's not so much of a fun with number, but it's a number, and it's something that obviously we'll have to keep an eye on, all of us who, consume groceries and eat food, because that does tend to come in handy a couple of times a day, so
Mm. Yes, indeed. Well, good.
alright.
You got that one. Yeah, looking forward to Commodity Classic and looking forward to meeting as many people as we can. Very exciting. So
Yes, and folks out there, next week's video, Miss Laura and I will actually record it together since we'll be in the same room at Commodity Classic. We'll find a little space where we can record some of our observations on what's going on there in Denver. So if you can't make it to the show yourself, fear not, we will keep you in the loop. But in the meantime, thanks for joining us for this edition of CropLife Retail Week. On behalf of myself and everyone at CropLife, thanks for joining us, and we will see you again soon.
If you have questions or comments about today's episode of Retail Week, contact us by email or Twitter, or type your message in the comments section below. Your feedback is important to us. We will try our best to address your thoughts in next week's episode, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel.